This is the plaintiff, Shamika Hewitt. She says she brought her Pathfinder to the defendant's repair center for a manufacturer recall. And when she got the thing back, it sounded like a Mack truck. They totally ruined her engine. This has caused a lot of hardship to her life because she's had to rent and borrow cars, and she's here suing for the $5,000 she's owed. This is the defendant, Robert DeGregoris. He says the plaintiff had a recall on the chassis where it meets the strut where rust can form. He's done over 100 of these recalls. He never touched her engine, and this woman's just looking to cash in on a 20-year-old truck with 100,000 miles on it now that it's having engine problems. He's accused of not strutting his stuff.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff brought a car to the defendant for a recall problem. When it came back, it was making ridiculous noise. But the defendant says he never even touched the engine, so fact is the car's a junker. It's the case of hoopty no can do.
Litigants have been
sworn?
Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, they have.
Sounds like.
Yeah,
All right.
kinda.
Shamika Hewitt,
Yes.
you are suing Robert DeGregoris's dealership.
Yes.
All right. We've agreed not to mention, you are a franchisee of a major manufacturer of cars. You don't want their name mentioned, and we'll respect that. You're suing his dealership for $5,000 for aggravation and money for a new car because, according to you, they broke your car. Tell me what happened.
I had purchased the vehicle February 1st.
From a private party? From a person?
Yeah, it was a dealer in Delaware.
A dealer,
Yes.
okay. And then you drove back to New York.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I needed, the steering wheel was shaking, so I had took it to a mechanic.
Had you test driven it beforehand
Yes.
and the
I had
steering wheel was
a-
not shaking when you test drove it?
Right. No, I had it for a couple of days. The man did tell me, I had to change the brakes and.
Who told you that? The person who sold it to you?
Yes, the
but
person.
But the steering wheel hadn't been shaking when you bought the car. That was something that happened on the drive down?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then?
And so I had took it to the mechanic. I had took it to a mechanic, when I got to New York.
Okay.
And he said to me that I needed the control arms and the wheel bearings. So I said, okay. So when he put it on a lift, he said to me, the frame on the inside of the car was cracking. And he said, hold on 1 second. And then he went and he looked up something and he came back. He said to me, did you know that these trucks had a recall on it? And I said, no, I had it a couple of days, so I didn't know that. He said, yeah, it was about 2 years ago they had a recall on it. And he said before he does the work, to have them fix the frame, because the bottom of the frame was cracking in the car.
Okay.
So I called the dealer.
And you take it to them, and they fix it. And the recall was for what?
The recall is for some rusting on the strut towers, which is where the shocks go into.
Okay.
It's a recall.
So he takes care of the repair, you take the car, and then what happens? Do you take it back to the first guy so that you can actually get the repair of your car that you need?
No, when I picked it up, the car was barely moving.
What does barely moving mean?
It was, they had it in four-wheel drive, and the oil light was on, and it was a loud knocking noise when the man brought it out to me. And I said, what happened to the truck? I said, it wasn't like this when I brought it to you 6 days ago. And he was like, oh, I don't know, I didn't touch it. So I called inside, and he went inside to tell him, that I could barely move the truck. And he said, okay, I'm going to send somebody outside to you. The man came outside. He drove the car back and forth to get it out of four-wheel drive because I asked him, I said, well, why is it in four-wheel drive? And he said, I don't know, I didn't touch the car. So I said, okay.
Could somebody find the guy who did touch the car?
Right.
It was one of my mechanics.
Right. Why didn't that guy just come out and see what was wrong with the car?
He did.
Okay. Were you actually there, or
No, I
everything
was
of
not.
yours
No,
is
I was
hearsay?
not.
Who's he?
He's my service manager. He
Come on now.
spoke to her.
Sorry, were you there when all this stuff was happening?
Yes.
Okay, come on. So what happened that day? What happened?
The vehicle was in four-wheel drive. There was a snowstorm that day. The vehicle went over to the body shop because the recall needs to be performed by a body shop. The body shop had to put the vehicle into four-wheel drive, in order for the repair for the vehicle to
To
be
drive,
moved.
he means that they put it in four-wheel drive, driving it from point A to point B.
Correct.
Because they had to, because it was snowing. Go
Because a
ahead.
four-wheel drive vehicle is rear-wheel drive, and it cannot be moved typically in snow.
Okay.
So they performed the repair,
Which was?
the
strut tower
The
recall.
strut tower recall.
Right.
They brought it back to us. The vehicle waited until she came and picked it up. And when she came and picked it up, she was unaware on how to return it back to two-wheel drive.
Okay, so did somebody take it out of four-wheel drive for you?
Yes.
Okay, and then what's wrong with it?
The oil light was on.
Okay.
And I asked the man that came out to take it out of four-wheel drive, I said, why is the oil light on? And he checked it. He told me, oh, you don't need any oil. So I said, so why the light is flashing? He said, oh, sometimes it does that. So I said, okay. He said, if...
What does that mean? Sometimes it does that.
That's not, none of that happened
How do you know?
because I spoke to the technician. There was no oil light.
Oh, so you're saying that the oil light was not on?
The oil light was not on.
So you take your car to a repair shop. It's got 100,000 miles. They fix one thing, but it comes out with another problem. Are they responsible?
No, I don't think they're responsible.
Why?
Because, like you said, the car's old. Things happen. It's an old car, and things happen. The car breaks down.
You agree with her?
Yes, sir.
You agree with her because you might be with her and you're wearing the same color?
Oh, she's my wife, so I have to.
I'm just curious. What do you say?
No, I think it's the old standard where that you bring it into a repair guy, they fix one thing, break another, so you come back.
Ah, okay. Got the drill. Going inside the courtroom.
So according to you, the oil light's on, and he says, don't worry, that'll go away. And then what?
He said, it'll be a problem if the light stays on, because at that point, it was like it'll flash on, and then it'll flash on. He said, if it stays steady, then you got a problem.
So then you left, and then what? Why are you
and then
suing them? I'm trying to understand why
And
you're
then I got
suing.
a couple of blocks
Okay.
away, because now I'm driving. The noise is getting louder.
Okay, wait. There was a noise?
Yeah,
Where was the noise?
in the engine.
Okay, and what was the noise?
It was a knocking noise.
If there was a knocking noise, why did you drive the car off the dealership? Why didn't you bring it back to service? Or why didn't you, why did you bring it up at that point?
No, the noise was getting louder when I got close to the house, and I called him again. And he said, well, I don't know what's wrong because we didn't touch the engine. It was just in the body shop. And I said, but I didn't bring you the vehicle sounding like this.
Did you take that? But I know you brought it to someone else and didn't do the repairs. So my question is, did you take it to anybody? Do you have any evidence here from a mechanic that tells me something about the strut replacement would end up causing the noise that you're hearing inside your engine?
No.
So did you ever take it somewhere to find out what the repair this is?
Yes.
Okay.
He said-
I don't mean before, I mean after.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me
Yes.
see. Okay, this is a piece of paper with typing on it and a scribbled signature. Why am I not getting something, like a pre-printed, typical repair thing?
He didn't fix the car.
That doesn't matter. I mean, how long did you own the car?
About 6 days.
You owned it 6 days? Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting because he's saying we have serviced this vehicle frequently prior to it being taken for the recalls.
What do you mean?
That's the first sentence in this piece of paper.
After I purchased the vehicle,
How many times could you have taken it there frequently in 6 days?
I only went that on the 2nd of
Well,
February.
his first sentence is, we have serviced this vehicle frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So already it sounds a little fishy to me, right? It would sound fishy to you if you were in my shoes, right? Ms. Hewitt's vehicle was not perfect. There was no engine or transmission problems known. There was visible front-end carriage work that needed to be addressed. Post-recall inspection completed by us on February 11th, we noticed there was disturbingly loud noise in the engine. We proceeded to recommend that this doesn't sound like it's from a mechanic because it's like a doctor saying, you got a boo-boo. It's not the lingo they use. Go ahead.
If I may.
Yeah.
The customer asked me if I could help her. I did attempt to help her. She asked me, apparently she purchased this vehicle through somebody from an auction. She asked me if I could contact the auction to see if this vehicle could be returned to the auction. I attempted to do this. I found out that this vehicle was sold from an auction as is, which means you cannot...
Have you ever seen a vehicle sold from an auction that's not as is? I mean...
Well, yes, that's actually possible.
Really? No
It is
kidding.
possible, yes.
Oh, look at me dripping in
But not one
misplaced sarcasm.
But not one that has a salvage title 15 years ago.
Oh, a salvage title.
15 years ago.
He has proof.
15 years ago? How old is the car?
20 years old.
For real?
Yes.
Oh, it's old enough to vote, fight, and almost drink. But I would need to have, some kind of evidence that these guys did something wrong. You bought a 20-year-old car, it turned out to be garbage, and you want them to pay not what it would cost you for a new engine, which you have no evidence that they ruined anyway, but you want them to pay $5,000. It sounds to me like you're trying to make some money here. That's how it sounds to me. Verdict for the defendant.
Listen.
No, you listen. No. The answer's no. Verdict for the defendant. Listen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me just ask you what you wanted to say to the judge.
I was trying to explain to her. I never had a conversation with that man. She didn't give me a chance. I didn't talk to this man. This man wasn't even there when none of this was taking place. He wasn't even there.
Oh, okay.
She didn't give me a chance to say anything. How can you have somebody in court that wasn't present?
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, there's a defendant very, very upset. Here the plaintiff very upset. Here comes the defendant. Yeah. You did talk to her?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
After the fact, though. She
Okay.
came into my office and we spoke. And I explained to her that I would look into it. She asked me to give her a hand with the auction. I tried to.
We went through all of that.
Unfortunately.
All right. This happened very often to you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. Congratulations, gentlemen. Okay. Harvey, you can go. Harvey, what do you think?
So look, I mean, short and sweet, Doug, this is a very common problem with really old cars, and it's really hard to prove that the repair shop did it. You need an expert. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.